I'm John Batchelor, Mary Kissel, the editorial board of the Wall Street Journal, opinion journal host each day at WSJ.com, and most important, a Floridian. That's what I wanted to get to.
The Sunshine State.
Born in Florida, raised in Florida. Her parents are in Florida. Mary's a New Yorker now, but you can take the Floridian out of Florida, but I understand. Okay, fine. We welcome a fellow Floridian, Mary, Jose Mallea, who's the policy director of a new group, the LIBRE initiative, which is out of Florida, and right now is involved in talking about the Affordable Care Act. Jose, a very good evening to you. Awfully good timing, Jose. The Affordable Care Act, it was in the news today. I think, Mary, that's not an exaggeration. And I've looked at a sign-up document you make possible through your website, LIBRE Initiative, which has a lot to say, but we're focusing on the ACA right now. And also on YouTube is an ad or a themed ad from LIBRE Initiative talking about Jose Garcia, Joe Garcia, who is a member of Congress. He represents 26 Florida. Please tell us about Joe Garcia and the Affordable Care Act and what it is that you want to tell the people of Florida about voting for him. Good evening to you, Jose.
Hey, guys. Good evening. John, Mary, great to be on with you. So, yeah, the LIBRE Initiative is an organization. We're a national organization with a presence in 8 states, and we do a lot of outreach on these kinds of issues that have to do with the economy, that now we're focusing a lot on healthcare. And what we're trying to do is make people aware of what's happening with this law. A lot of folks, especially in the Hispanic community, are not aware of the impacts of the law. They weren't aware about it before. We're trying to educate them. Now they're seeing the news coverage, but more importantly, they're seeing their lives being affected. They're seeing their healthcare costs go up. They're getting these letters of cancellation. So what we wanted to do, especially here in Florida 26, was let the constituents of Congressman Garcia know that he supports this legislation. And unfortunately, this legislation is bad for our community, bad for our economy, bad for small business. And so we want to just raise that level of attention and awareness about this very dangerous law.
But, Jose, Florida is full of Democrats who supported Obamacare, including the incredibly unwieldily named Debbie Wasserman Schultz. So why go after Jose Antonio Garcia Jr. and not somebody like Miss Wasserman Schultz?
You know, that's an excellent point. And I think if we were doing this for political motivation, we would make that calculation and say, you know what, let's spend resources somewhere else. But this was more important than that. This was about making sure that the constituents of Congressman Garcia in a very Hispanic community with a lot of seniors, a lot of folks on fixed incomes who are currently suffering in this bad economic situation, realize that the vote for their congressman and the decisions that their members of Congress make has a direct impact on their lives, especially on their health care. Their costs are going up. And we've received, in this community, thousands of letters of people. I know several people, small business owners, independent contractors, who had coverage that are now losing it. So it is just too much is at stake. I think the community needs to realize this. So that's why we decided to focus on Congressman Garcia with the Accountability Project. But we are not doing this in Florida alone. We're going to be doing this in other states. We are going to be starting this in Texas very soon. We're going to be doing it in Arizona. And beyond that, we might go to other places because it's just...
Jose, I read from your description of Florida 26 that they are not the same income level of constituencies as Debbie Wasserman Schultz's Boca Raton residents. So
right.
Politically, they might be more open to an appeal to their pocketbooks than, say, the residents of Delray or Boca.
And it's something that, and that's the misconception, right? I've seen a lot of reports and media say, folks who are on fixed incomes or moderate incomes will support this because their costs will go down. Well, that's not what we're seeing. Their costs are going up. The average family is spending on average, I think nationally, potentially up to $6,000 additional dollars a year. They can't afford that. The young people in that district, they're having a hard time finding jobs. There's a university there, Florida International University. Graduating kids can't find work, and now they got to go out and get this coverage or face a $600 penalty. It's just not a fair law for this community. And I think people need to get active, and we've seen it already. Their response has been very positive. Let their congressman know that they don't agree with this direction that our country's going in.
Puzzle, Jose. I can only handle the English, so I watch the YouTube in English, and I see the reporting in English. I'm going to presume this is a campaign that's entirely in Spanish, and that's what you're looking at, a Spanish community. It's significant. I think the last time I saw, nothing much works at healthcare.gov, so to say that something doesn't work isn't news. But as I recall, there was no launch of the Spanish language healthcare.gov site whatsoever. It doesn't exist to my last time I checked.
It doesn't exist, and it's just one of the many more lies that our government pitched us in order to pass this legislation. They said there would be a Spanish language site. Our campaign is actually both English and Spanish, but the Spanish reaction has been very positive. I spoke at a Chamber of Commerce event in Doral, part of that district, 120 small business owners, all of whom were saying, we don't know what to do. And just independent contractors saying, we don't know what to do. How do we enroll? Where do we go? What can we do to keep this from affecting us? We provided some information. We brought in some experts. But at the end of the day, there's no good solution to this other than to postpone it or potentially repeal it and fix the law and pass something that actually works.
So who comes after Mr. Garcia? Who's the next focus of your efforts in the Sunshine State?
So in the Sunshine State, I think we're also looking at potentially the Orlando area and the district of Congressman Grayson. We're going to be in potentially doing some events.
Oh, he's the one who wears the American flag tie, right?
That's right.
And I see him often on television behaving in a colorful fashion.
And, and the reality of it is that a lot of these folks are just out of touch. They're so caught up in the Beltway politics. They're so caught up in the Washington mentality. They forget to realize that the impact that these laws have on the everyday person in their communities. And it's just not fair. That's our message. It's not fair. The American people should not have to deal with this law, especially the way it's being handled. The prudent thing to do is to postpone the actual effective date of a lot of these penalties and taxes, and potentially even look at repealing or maybe redoing the entire package. And that's what we're trying to promote.
You saw the news today, the president's remarks this morning, Jose, and you've followed the news very carefully. I'm certain of it. You're a professional. This is a surprise to us in New York. Was it a surprise to you in Florida? I mean, we're flabbergasted. We're getting reports. We spoke to a Washington correspondent earlier this evening. Members of Congress were flabbergasted. I spoke to a colleague of Mary's at the editorial board of the Wall Street Journal who won the Pulitzer Prize because he knows everything about the Affordable Care Act.
Everything.
He said all of his sources, as of 24 hours ago, they knew the White House was looking at a fix, but they were blindsided by this. Were you surprised in Florida? Did you nod and say, my goodness, we've got to go to work?
Yeah, and I hate to be cynical because at the end of the day, I really respect the president as our president. But unfortunately, I think it's just another part of that pattern of making calculated political decisions. His poll numbers were at an all-time low. He had broken the 40% threshold. With Hispanics, he's at 41% approval rating, which is unheard of because they came out in droves to support him during the presidential election. They feel deceived. And so it's about survival. It's about political survival. And I think that's what worries me about this. It wasn't a decision that was made because it's good policy, but a decision that was made because it's good politics. Hopefully, they take this time to do an evaluation and realize that this is a flawed law, not just flawed because the website doesn't work, but flawed because it doesn't function in a rational way in how it's being implemented in these communities. I mean, it does not make sense for a healthy 25-year-old to get penalized for not taking health care that they feel that they don't need, or for a person who has a policy that they're happy with to lose it and then have to take a policy that their costs are going up. That just doesn't make sense.
I want to press you, Jose, because we've got you. We're going to buttonhole him here on the radio, all right? All of your points about the Affordable Care Act, yes, it's a day to make it very clear to the Hispanic community and the English-speaking community in Florida that this is off the tracks. It's gone very bad. But there's another policy that's hanging in Washington right now that's of great interest when you look at the Hispanic community in America, and that's immigration. Is your understanding that immigration has been sidelined by the catastrophe of the Affordable Care Act? Any negotiation whatsoever, any reform, that the administration has no hands for it? It can't get to it.
It's really sad, and it's because it is such an important law. I do think that it's been affected. I think the window of time. Congressman Diaz-Balart recently, who's been a leader in the House, was working with a bipartisan group to try to pass the Immigration Reform Act. Said that just unrealistically, the time is running out, and there's just no leadership from the White House. There's a lot of good speeches. There's a lot of good mentions about this in remarks and in events, but there's no action, right? So now with this has gone on, it's going to be difficult. We at LIBRE have been promoting a campaign called Estamos Contigo, which means we are with you, to the Hispanic community nationally, to get them active, to get them to sign up. We've made hundreds of thousands of calls. We've had people sign up and go to our website. But unfortunately, Washington sometimes, doesn't prioritize these things the way that they should, and a lot of these calendars are affected by other events that take place. We had the issues that took place in the fall with the government shutdown and so on. So I think it's going to be very difficult. I'm not an expert on these things. We're going to continue to push and promote this. We think this is incredibly important. It's important not just for the Hispanic community, it's important for our nation. If we're going to continue to be that country that provides those opportunities to people that no one else in the world can provide, and that's what makes us so exceptional and so special, we have to do this. It's good for our economy. It's good for our fiber as a country, our long-term growth. So, I wish that there was a solution or a way to maybe get a little more time, but I frankly, I'm becoming less optimistic every day.
Let me summarize, Jose, and see if I follow now. The Hispanic voters in America, all possible states of origin, voted overwhelmingly for Mr. Obama twice, but certainly in 2012, overwhelmingly. And now, 1 year into his second term, the Affordable Care Act is understood as negative for the Hispanic community. There's no Spanish language website for the Hispanic community to even get access. A few people do get through, and they can't even get through because there's no language for them. And immigration, which across the landscape of Hispanic America is a vital, critical, controversial issue. The administration has no time for you because of the damage done to the body politic in Washington with the Affordable Care Act fumble by the rollout, in the president's words. Have I said it all correctly for the LIBRE initiative?
We got to package that and run it as one of our hats.
Oh, well, I don't have your language, Jose. You have to say it in Spanish. But before you came here tonight, it had not come to me to put it in such a cynical fashion. I think it is.
Yeah, but it's the reality.
You've given the Hispanic community is overwhelmingly Obama supporters. Tonight, Jose, if we dropped a poll in the middle of Hispanic Miami, wouldn't it be overwhelmingly pro-Obama?
What's interesting about that? We're actually just conducting polls and to get some more research, and we've seen an incredible decline, and not just the support, but it's a sense of disappointment, almost betrayal, which is very interesting. It's more of an emotional reaction that people are having right now, coming to terms with what's happened because they feel like they were misled, they were deceived, they were promised something 6 years ago, they were promised something a year ago roughly, and it's all I don't want to say they're lies, but they weren't completely forthright. And I think that's what people are starting to realize in the Hispanic community, and they're just disappointed. And so I don't like to see that because I don't want the Hispanic community to lose faith in our elected leaders. I don't want them to lose faith in our processes here. They leave countries because of broken systems, because of tyranny, because of the lack of free enterprise opportunities. They come here with a dream and they want to live that dream out. And if we start becoming more and more like the countries that we left, where are we going to end up? There's nowhere else to go after this. Right? So for a lot of these folks, it's their hopes and their dreams that they left behind in their homeland for their children that are now at risk.
Policy director of the LIBRE Initiative. LIBRE Initiative is a website. You can go to it and learn. Jose Mallea. Jose, say your surname correctly for me because I didn't get a chance to talk to you beforehand. Where's the accent?
Jose Mallea.
Mallea. Wonderful. Jose Mallea. Extremely exciting to learn about the LIBRE Initiative, and I thank you, Jose. Mary, there's more to Florida than I knew. More to Florida. There's actually a Republican Party with gumption.
Yeah, the question is, are they going to get the candidates that they need to fight in these districts? So work ahead for the LIBRE Initiative.
Mary Kissel, the editorial board of the Wall Street Journal. I'm John Batchelor.